morning, everybody. It's Terry TV, and this is my usual broadcast day, a Monday morning. So, how are you doing? I am currently working on the amazing Mushu. And here he is. There's going to be some changes. I was working on the face the other day, and although you may or may not be able to see it quite well, and it looks like I've got a little bit too much light on my face. There we go. You may not get to see it. This is kind of my process. This is a Germont clay, and I am working on him for an upcoming gallery in Simi Valley. He will be one of a kind, and I may even work on some smaller sculptures for you to get should you come and see me at the show in December. Okay, that being said, let's put Mushu aside. I want to talk to you about something. There we go. I want to talk to you about something I run into all the time. And over the weekend, because it was a very, very rainy time here in California, the whole weekend was socked in. So as a result, my husband and I put together a nice meal, something nice to drink, curled up under a warm, comfy blanket, and watched some of the movies that we get screeners to. Now, for those of you who don't know what a screener is, if you are a actor, performer, and puppeteer like myself, or you are like my husband, who is an art director, retired, but an art director all the same, we start to get links to see movies to start to vote on. We won't really vote on them till around December or even January, but we start to see these screeners, and we also get the opportunity to go and listen to these actors talk about what the film means to them. And one example would be Frankenstein with Guillermo del Toro. We went to the Academy Theater in Beverly Hills, and we heard him speak about how this movie came to be and why it was sort of a love letter to himself. It is his movie, a Guillermo del Toro movie. So if you like Guillermo del Toro movies, I highly recommend it. If you don't, well, then you probably won't go, will you? But one of the debates that happens all the time, or something that comes up to me every single time I see a movie, I say the same thing, and my husband just kind of goes, "Da, da, 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 da." Not that he thinks that what I'm saying is, not again, but here it comes. Okay. So this weekend, one of my absolute favorite knuckle biting, hang on for your life films is this film. This is The Lost Bus on Apple TV. Wow. It is about one man's uh, attempt, if you will, to take a bus of children, save them from the Paradise Fires. This movie is in flippin' credible. I thought this movie was amazing. I couldn't breathe. I hyperventilate. I mean, it's on Apple TV. I don't know if it's available to you right now. We watched it through a screener, but it's a must-see movie about the Paradise Fires. Now, here in California, the Paradise Fires were very close to my heart because my sister-in-law, her parents lost not one but two houses in the fire, and the blessing was they are older, obviously, elderly parents, and they were not there. As the blessing would have it for them in particular, they were not caught up in this fire because there's a very, very good chance they may or may not succeeded because the routes got jammed. People were trapped. We watched on the news this Paradise Fire as people filmed it on their phones, trapped in their cars, and it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And my sister-in-law and my husband's brother told us about how they went back and walked through the rubble to see what they could salvage. Now, this isn't unusual since the fires of last January in the Palisades and then also in the Altadena area. That fire, a lot of Imagineers lost their homes. People lost their homes. This is not a laughing matter. This is something that we need to address in California, because one of the things about California is that we say we don't get a lot of rain and we don't get a lot of this. So if it ain't broke, why fix it? And we're discovering, if you watch the news, that PG&E is at the root of a couple of these. The Eaton fire, which was just devastating for so many, was because of a malfunction in the electrical from PG&E, as we're understanding now. And the same thing happened with the Paradise Fire. So this movie is one person's telling of the story of this lost bus. Now, why am I discussing this with you? Because I get it all the time, and I got it from my sister-in-law. She kept saying it's not really that accurate. The movie you may have thought the movie was good, but it's not accurate. Okay, you watch another movie that you like. Let's take Bohemian Rhapsody, which was another one I loved a lot. And people were saying, I liked it, but it's not accurate. So, how many times have you heard this or felt this? Yes, it's a good movie, but it's not accurate. Well, here's what I've got to tell you, it's a film. Okay. The definition of a film is one director's and group's interpretation. The writer and the director interpret the movie so that you are holding on by the edge of your seat. You're getting the feeling of it, hopefully. Hopefully. It may not be accurate, but for accuracy, if this is your thing, if you want it accurate, you need to watch documentaries. Documentary filmmakers dedicate themselves to accuracy. So if you're one of those people who it just doesn't float your boat to watch something that you later find out is not accurate, then I highly recommend that you watch documentaries. And I don't know if there's any documentaries on the Lost Bus, but here's the thing. The Lost Bus is an amazing film. It keeps you on the edge of it. It checks off all the boxes, in my opinion. Okay. If you disagree, please post in the comments and disagree with me. I am here to hear what you have to say. But understand, it's no reflection on you. I just want you to understand that a filmmaker's job is to get you all excited about the subject that they're talking about. So that gets butts in the seats in a theater, or in this case, Apple Plus streaming. But also because you may want to then search out, like I would love to find the documentary. After seeing this movie, I would love to, if someone has done a documentary about the Paradise Fires, I would love to see it. Plus, there's a book out. And I think a movie's real mission is, if it is taken from an adaptation from a book, its job is to make you want to read the book or to listen to it on Audible or whatever. And when it does that for the viewer, I think they've checked off every box. And this is one of those movies. Case in point is Hacksaw Ridge, which was a movie that came out a few years ago, where the line that you walk away with is, please, Lord, let me just get one more. Please, Lord, let me just get one more. The story of one man saving a multitude of lives during the battle with the Japanese. So a multitude of lives. If you've not seen this movie, it is incredible. It's incredible. Every actor brings it more, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful film. Now, is it accurate? Here's the thing you have to understand about films and books. A book you read over, well, you speed readers out there, you can read them in an afternoon. I've got a few of you as my friends. But for me, I read a chapter or so a night before I go to bed. So it takes me a little time to get through certain books. But after seeing this movie, I had to have the book. I had to have the book and I had to read the book. It was so important to me to read the book after I saw the movie. I thought the movie was that good. Well, when I read the book, I saw lots of inaccuracies. But when you are a filmmaker or film production, you have to tell, usually in just a few hours, a book which takes months, can take months. I mean, to read and definitely takes months to write, sometimes years to write. So My point is this: if you try to be accurate in a movie, you can often become boring. And if the movie is boring, a person says, you know what, that movie was not to my taste. I didn't like that movie very much. And so I'm not going to watch it again. For me, that movie was Blue Moon. Blue Moon is a movie that takes place pretty much in one spot, and it's a lot of talking. So for me, now for you, you may fall in love with this movie. This is about Heart, the one. So you had Rogers and Hammerstein, but before Rogers and Hammerstein, there was Rogers and Hart. Okay, playwright and lyricist. Yeah, and it's the story of Heart. All right, and spelled Hart. Okay. Anyway, it takes place in a bar, and it takes place, they don't move much. It's kind of like if you've ever seen 12 Angry Men, which really works with Henry Fonda in one room. It really works. There's a lot of snapping, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of bopping. In this movie, I found several things very distracting, makeup distracting, some tricks with the camera or tricks with CG, very distracting. And so there were some things there that just didn't work for me. Plus, I thought it was kind of, no, I'll say it right out. For me, it was lackluster. It didn't bring anything for me. I was distracted by the performer who played the character. I kept thinking, gosh, I don't quite know. He's very good, but it feels like a play. And I'm not real good with movies that feel like they're also a play. I don't know why. Films that kind of come off like a play. I know if they're from black and whites, there are some that I like that come off like a play, but I feel like if you're going to do a movie, why not do a film? You have the play and then you have a film. Okay. Use the film to your advantage, is my opinion. But some that come off on like a play, for example, Arsenic and Old Lace, it's done a bit like a play. Rope, Hitchcock's Rope is done a lot like a play. But what Hitchcock does with Rope is when the play happens, it's different from when the film, when Hitchcock did the film, it has one of the longest uncut shots in the movie Rope. And that's fascinating to watch. So he still plays with camera versus play. Okay. Maybe wanting to give you that consistent viewing process that comes in a play. But when you're aware it's a movie, you're like, wow, that's something. So my point is this: if you're making a movie, your job is to make it interesting enough so that we are so excited about it, Hacksaw Ridge and The Lost Bus, to the point to where you are just thrilled to see if you can find the book to learn more about that subject. Wow, I want to learn more about this Lost Bus and the people that were involved in it, because the movie is incredible. It's incredible. And again, I have a couple others that we watched this weekend. F1, for example. Now, my sister saw F1 at the movie theater. I did not get to do that. I am a sculptor who sculpts under hot lights, as just sort of demonstrated to you before. And I can't necessarily jump into a theater every time I turn around. Not that I wouldn't like to, but streaming is very convenient for me. We have a good size screen to watch it on, and I enjoy it. And I thought this film was also very fun. My husband said he felt the movie was a bit by the numbers. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it already, or if you have seen it and you thought it was sensational, like my sister, for example, saw it like 8 or 10 times in the movie theater. I can't remember. She saw it a lot. And loved it. I liked it. I liked the journey. I'd like to own the DVD or Blu-ray because I thought it was a lot of fun. One of the things that I love about Brad Pitt as an actor that I feel he does better than anybody else, and calm down, girls, I know you think he is like the hottest thing since sliced butter. He really doesn't do that for me. But as an actor, strictly acting, I think one of the things that he does is this sort of laid back aloofness, this confidence without being pretentious. So, Once Upon a Time in LA, I think it's called, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Forgive me if I've got the title wrong. But the Quentin Tarantino film, I thought he was amazing as the stunt double. He just has really good um he has good instincts when it comes to this sort of laissez-faire, I've got it going on, it's not all that, don't sweat the small stuff kind of a character, and he brings it to F1. So I absolutely fell in love with his character in that, as well as characters around him. I thought he was really, really excellent, and the movie was fun for me. It was fun. That's what I like. I like movies that kind of take me away, and I'm not being made aware of the actors or the performances. Like in Blue Moon. Blue Moon, I was too aware of who was playing what, and I was like, yeah, kind of hard, kind of difficult. Yeah. And finally, Nuremberg. Nuremberg is long. Nuremberg has a point it wants to make. I feel that overall, this movie is very, very slow out of the gate. And the real punch happens in the last 40 minutes of the film, I'd say. So if it's almost, I think it's 2 hours and 30 something minutes long, if it's this long of a film and you have all these big hitters, like, you know, you have actors you recognize. Let me just say that. I'm not going to name them, but you know who they are. Russell Crowe in the front position. But they're all these actors. You go, oh, you know how it is when you watch a movie. Oh, that's Russell Crowe. Oh, that's such and such. Oh, I saw this guy in this one. Oh, I remember seeing this guy in this one. This can be distracting when you're watching a film. And it was very slow to get off the mark, in my opinion. And with it being so long, if you're in a theater watching it, it's very, very different than if you're streaming it. Because let's face it, if you're streaming it and you go, whoa, where is this going? I want something a little more snap. You could easily use your remote control and get away from it. And that's not what you want as a filmmaker. You want to keep the compelling happening so that you can make sure that they watch it from beginning to end. Because in the end, near the end, the last, I'd say, 20 minutes is the impactful part of the film that people need to see. It's really, really got an excellent section in that film, but unfortunately, I believe it needed to come either earlier or it needed to come, I don't know, something that wasn't enough in the front to catapult us to the back of the film, if that makes sense. And I don't know if accuracy plays here. I just know that the movie, as I watched it, I kept saying, well, I'm someone because I am with the Screen Actors Guild, and I always go to the credits. I mean, the movie can be an absolute terrible film, but I'm going to watch it from A to Z simply because, out of respect, it's not easy to make a film. I've never made one. And I know people work so hard to get these movies out. And in some cases, like Disney and other like Disney, Disney's the big one for me, where they've spent $400 million or whatever, and then the movie is a dog. And you go, how did that happen? But that happens when you have a lot of money and you throw it at. This is why I tend to love the independent filmmakers, because they don't have so much bank at their disposal. So every dollar counts. I didn't say penny because, of course, pennies are being eliminated out of our vocabulary and they're going away. It costs 4 cents to produce a penny, so I can't say penny for your thoughts anymore. And I can't say every penny counts. I have to say every dollar counts, every amount in an independent film. So this is why I point this out. So today, this is the reason I wanted to come and talk to you today, is to say that a documentary is the facts, is accurate works hard to be real and true. But a movie takes liberty, which they are allowed to do, and I thank them for it. There was one called Living, Living, I believe that's what it was called, about the couple who were mixed races. And of course, I'm mixed race. So this was an important movie to me. I think that's the name of it. I might be wrong. But anyway, about a couple in the 50s, I believe, who were arrested because she married a black man. And of course, he married the white woman, and that was not allowed. Well, the documentary was very accurate, very precise, and a little dull. But the couple was kind of quiet, spoken. You pick your subject matter and you hope they'll be a little more energetic. But sometimes they're just a couple of people who fell in love, and here we are. What more do you want? Yeah, he's black. Yeah, she's white, and kind of a thing. So the movie is kind of bland. I mean, the documentary is bland, a bit bland, but it's a documentary and it's accurate. Later, they did a movie and they wanted to make it as accurate as the documentary, and it fell flat on its face. It was dull, 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 dull. And so, as a movie and a director and a producer and a writer, you should have spiced it up a little bit, enough to make people watch the documentary and read the book. That's what I'm talking about. So the next time you go see a movie, give them a little bit of credit. They're looking to get you all revved up so that you'll not only come and see their movie again and tell your friends, but also so you will read the book and you will watch the documentary if there happens to be one. I know in the case of The Lost Bus, I would like to find out everything I possibly could about this incident with this particular bus, because it was spine tingling. And I think this movie was absolutely brilliant. So, as you go and do your viewing pleasure and enjoy yourself, whether you go out with family, theaters are always a lot more fun. I saw Predator, the latest Predator, in the theater, and it was really, really exciting and fun. The sound was amazing. Everything is lovely. So I highly recommend a theater. But if you can't, just know that when you watch that film, that one of their jobs in today's world is that many people watch it from their couch or Barcalounger and have that which is called a remote that can switch out that fast. Let me do that again. That fast. And so they have to bear that in mind when they're editing and when they're going to show it to you. So the next time someone says it isn't that accurate, ask if it's a documentary, because that is a valid critique if it's a documentary. But if it's a movie, hang back. It's a film, and that has a different criteria for you to watch it. Okay, I really thought this was a strong thing to bring up because it's constantly coming up to me. And by the way, I'm TERRI HARDIN, pop icon and Disney Imagineer. And if you watch this today, I appreciate comments from you. I appreciate you looking for further videos. If this sounds like something that interests you, I want to wish you a very, very happy day. But for now, I just felt like I needed to step forward and say, wait a minute, guys. Cut some of these films a break. They may not be as accurate as you would like them to be, but they're still a very, very good picture. Again, I highly recommend The Lost Bus. I thought the acting was incredible. I thought the work was amazing. I had to remind myself to breathe. So I really, really love when a film does that to me. It doesn't happen often. And Michael McConaughey is hit and miss for me. I was reluctant when I first saw it was Michael because he tends to be a little bit low key, under like a lower performing actor. So I didn't know if it was going to work for me, but it worked beautifully. You did a great job, Michael. And I'm eating crow right now because you were amazing, fantastic, brilliant. The entire cast was. Everyone was really, really worth the watch. So please, guys, don't let others tell you what to watch. Watch it and make your own decision. For now, I'm TERRI HARDIN, pop icon, and I will see you the next time when who knows what we'll talk about. But I hope you enjoyed today. Do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. Bye for now. Take care and